Responding to family and friends who give you a hard time about your veganism. Some people just want to be combative, okay? Trying to win against these people is fruitless. It'll suck your life energy out of you, and you need that life energy to support yourself and keep yourself moving forward. Genuine questions only. If someone is genuinely interested in veganism, by all means, answer their questions. If they have genuine concerns about whether or not it's healthy, by all means, offer to watch a documentary with them, or give them some awesome book recommendations, like How Not to Die, Healthy Eating, Healthy World, Food Choice and Sustainability. And if these people are genuinely interested, they will be proactive about pursuing these recommendations. If they just want to cause conflict with no interest in expanding their education, then they will endlessly waste your time and get pleasure from working you up until you're in an angry place. And then they'll say, haha, you vegans are so angry. I'll never try a vegan diet because vegans are angry. Why don't you just go masturbate in the corner? A viewer did ask me to address a few specifics, so I will do that quickly now. Her family members were saying that vegans get confused about correlation and causation. Yes. Correlation versus causation is an everlasting problem with non-randomized control trials, which is why it's so great that there are now so many randomized control trials that support vegan diets as being healthy and preventing disease. I also find it quite hilarious that a lot of the studies that people use to discredit vegan diet are not randomized control trials. And their supposed vegan debunking conclusions are based almost purely through correlation, without thorough controls being used. Whatever. None of this means that these types of studies can't be used to add support to a conclusion, theory, or idea. This is an issue in all of science. It's not new, it's not going away, and it's not limited to just vegan diets. And it's not a problem. Because when you have a study that says people who eat more meat have higher cholesterol and have more heart attacks, and then you have another study that proves that eating meat and the cholesterol it contains contributes to atherosclerosis, which is the leading cause of heart attacks, that's not... The other complaint this viewer said she was getting a lot was that vegans cherry-pick studies. Cool. Everyone cherry-picks studies. The great thing is that with veganism, you can pretty much just chop down the whole fucking tree and come to the right conclusion that plant-based diets are healthy. This is why meta-analysis is done. However, there are such things as badly structured or biased studies, and it really does depend on who pays and who is trying to purposefully muddy the water in their favor. Tobacco, meat and dairy. And since the meat, dairy, and egg industries are astronomically more powerful than, say, the California Artichoke Advisory Board, this problem is really in the opposite direction of veganism being healthy. You want to talk about cherry picking? Try to find studies that support meat and dairy as health-promoting foods. And then you'd have to look at these studies and ignore the thousands upon thousands of studies that conclude that eating more fruits and vegetables, or even exclusively fruits and vegetables, is excessively healthy. And the people who do it have lower rates of almost all diseases that affect developed countries. Try finding well-designed, independently funded studies proving that cholesterol is cardioprotective. Do it. Please. Waste your life doing that. These types of complaints are red herrings that are used to distract from the main points. And those main points are as follows. If I'm discussing veganism with someone, I am always adamant about staying on the important topics, and I always have a three-pronged approach. Health, environment, ethics. A well-planned, responsible, and intelligent vegan diet is inarguably healthy. That hasn't been up for debate since... ever? I don't know, 1945? Whole food, plant-based diets are health-promoting. That's not controversial. Does this mean that a mostly plant-based diet with the addition of small amounts of meat or other animal products will definitively cause disease? Not guaranteed, because a mostly plant-based diet with the addition of small amounts of animal products has been proven to be pretty goddamn health-promoting too. Is this me saying that I think it's healthy or morally okay to include animal products in your diet? No. Absolutely not. My opinion is that a purely vegan diet is ideal. I'm just saying that if you want to argue with someone about this from a scientific standpoint, you have to acknowledge that long-term population studies have shown that people who include small amounts of animal products in their diet have been shown to be healthy and long-lived. At the same time, vegan diets have been shown to be perfectly healthy in all stages of life. And vegan diets are extremely protective against all of our society's major killers. To argue otherwise is factually inaccurate and requires the use of a logical fallacy to provide excuses for our preference for eating animal foods. So once you've had the argument that plant-based diets are the most health-promoting diet, and you can prove that vegan diets are healthy, but you can't pin down that people have to be vegan to be healthy, then you move on to the environmental arguments. Environmentally speaking, large-scale veganism is a necessity for modern humans to survive at our current population. We cannot sustainably raise animals for agriculture and preserve the earth for future human habitation. Sure, maybe if people only ate a tiny amount of meat, like once every 2 weeks, had backyard chickens for their eggs, and raised their own goats, maybe that would be enough for the environment, not our health, because all of those foods are still loaded with shit. And if we only ate meat from tiny family farms, just like we did in the olden days, we would be better off. But the fact is that there's not enough room on the planet to provide sustainable or grass-fed meats or dairy products for all of the people on this planet. The only way that we can continue to eat anywhere close to the amount of animal foods that we currently do is through concentrated animal feeding operations. Factory farms, which have horrendous environmental impacts. It is much more efficient, environmentally sound, and actually possible for humans to subsist on plant-based or vegan diets using local organic agriculture. You can grow upwards of 50,000 pounds of edible plant foods on an acre of land versus grazing like 1/3 of a cow. Vegan agriculture would use a shit ton less water. It would result in tiny fractions the amounts of pollution. And we would be able to use a whole lot less land, which means that a lot of the land that we're currently using for agriculture could return to natural habitat, which would increase biodiversity and increase the health and viability of our planet. This is an undeniable fact. To argue otherwise is factually inaccurate and requires the use of logical fallacy to provide excuses for our preference for the taste of animal products. So we've now established that health and environment-wise, it is ideal to consume a plant-based or vegan diet. However, with both of these arguments, we can't prove definitively that including tiny amounts of animal products in the diet would have catastrophic effects. Which brings us to our final argument, ethics. Ethically speaking, it is in no way humane, kind, or ethical to stab a living creature to death, dismember its body, and consume the carcass. This is a horrific and instinctually revolting process. The only way humans can raise enough animals to satiate their disgusting lust for dead carcass is by using factory farms, which, without exception, result in atrocious, torturous conditions for sentient, feeling animals. Eating meat requires the torture and violent death of a living, feeling, intelligent animal. Animals were not put on this earth for us. We are not naturally carnivorous, and I don't give a shit what lions do. Treating sentient animals this way is not okay, and it is in no way necessary for our health or survival. As a matter of fact, quite the opposite is true. To argue otherwise is factually inaccurate, and it requires the use of logical fallacy to provide excuses for our preference for the taste of animal products. I do not accept arguments from people that are factually inaccurate. You know what I do? I just flat out refuse to argue with someone unless they watch Forks Over Knives, Cowspiracy, and Earthlings. And after that, I ask them to acknowledge the significant amount of pus and shit that makes it into their milk and meat. Then, if they genuinely want to argue, they can go fuck themselves. Because they either refuse to live in reality, they have no morals, or they're missing a fucking soul. And I'll be damned if I let some soulless subhuman into my social circle. This shit isn't up for debate. It's no longer a matter of, is it true? It's a matter of, do you have the strength of character required to face reality and make the sacrifices necessary to preserve our planet and prevent unnecessary suffering? And if you don't, we don't have time for you. I will not apologize for this. They are a hindrance to progress, and they should be ignored, if not chastised, for their apathy, laziness, and selfishness. How you choose to deal with these reality deniers is your choice. But I have decided not to waste one more minute of my life on their bullshit. I am literally too busy helping people who are ready to make the change and bringing uncompromising veganism to the mainstream. Because that, along with electing Bernie Sanders as the President of the United States, are the only avenues I see for saving our planet. And that's where my motivation is. It's in leaving a habitable place for my stepdaughters and preserving what we still can of the natural beauty of this incredible planet that we have the gift of living on. Totally fucked me up, Ketter. Good lord. Comments and experiences down below, please. And please take a moment to thumbs up this video and subscribe below if you haven't already. Until next time, make better choices for yourself and our goddamn planet that is slipping through our fingers as I'm speaking, and take really, really good care of yourself and our planet.